9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2,
Manchester
1,
United have
0.
reached the promised land.
Good morning, everybody. How are we all doing? It is a good morning. I'm rubbing my hands together because, I don't know, it's a good morning. Man United beating Fulham 3-1 yesterday. I mean, it really was a game in two halves. Big up to Mitrovic for being an absolute idiot. Big up to Fulham for losing their heads. Big up to Manchester United, man, for, turning it around. I'll speak about that game, but we can finally, take a step back. International breaks, typically, everybody looks at it and goes, oh, international break, so boring. I'm looking forward to this international break. I'm looking forward to United having a bit of downtime because we need it. We badly, badly need it. I think we've had 25 games in 88 days since the World Cup. We'll run through all of it, but good morning to everybody. We're going to talk about the Fulham game. We're going to talk about what we've got coming up in these next 2 weeks because we know full well there's going to be a big 2 weeks for the sale of Manchester United, those second bids going in. We're going to speak about everything about the game yesterday, all the red cards, all the incidents, Bruno, Anthony, Maguire, McTominay, all the talking points. Man of the match, you can let me know what you think in the comments. I'm going to run through some transfer conversations around De Jong, around Bellingham, around Evan Ferguson, around other players too, as we take a look about what's coming up next. It's going to be a busy show, but a good show. And as I said, an actual opportunity for us to take stock of what's been happening this season because it's been so hard with a game every 3 days. You haven't got time to look at what's just happened because you've got to look ahead. Good morning to everyone down in the comments. Have a look. Stephen reacts. Good morning to you. Bully watching from Kenya. Good morning to you. We've got Peter. Paul, we've got the mask on there. We've got Rashford. His head's massive. But look, finally got the masks in. You voted to get Rashford on the mannequin this week in the community vote. Don't let me know. Well, you can if you want. I won't be able to look. We need to decide who we're going to get on the vote. We're going to choose 5 players. So I don't know how to. If you can let me know in the Telegram group, members only chat, who you want on the mannequin next week, we can get those in. But good morning to Michael. We've got Jeremiah watching on Facebook. Good morning to Ian Holland, Mark Barrett on Facebook as well. CJ Savage, Save the Jungle, Jonathan Stevens, Takeoff, Francis, Ruman, John, Fred, I can see you there. Julie, I can see you there. Is all there? I can't see you all. Carl, we've got Ant, we've got Josh, we've got all the regs, and we've got plenty more here too. I kind of want to sit back and go, finally, man. Finally. It's been a mad couple of months. Really, really has. And it culminated with, honestly, it's one of the wildest. What was it? I think it was about. Let me pull this stat up for you. Right, this is a cracker. Let me pull this up here. There were 265 seconds between Willian getting a red card and it being 1-0 to Fulham, to United being 2-1 up against 9 men. That game there yesterday, honestly, I'm not sure you're ever going to see that again. At all. Pure madness. It was a red card. William was just doing his best Suarez impression. Didn't get away with it. It was a red card. But then Marco Silva. Hey, look, I'll run through and we'll speak about every single part of that in order. I want to say quickly before we start the show, another episode of the podcast got recorded last night, me and Bao after the game. If you can, let me just drop the link to the Spotify here. But we've got... that is available on Amazon, Spotify, Apple, Google, wherever you listen to your podcasts. The release schedule for the podcast now, we try and get one out the day after every game. So that's why it's released on a Monday now. We record on the Sunday after we play. That's why we hopefully record on Thursdays to release on Friday. But big up to everyone who supports the podcast. But I want to make the podcast bigger and better. So if you can, just take 2 seconds to go over there and give it a listen. Drop a 5-star review if you can. And also, if you haven't already entered the draw for the PS5, it's down there. Plenty of you have entered so far. We've got how long left? We've got 11 days left on that raffle draw. Only £1 per ticket. You can use the QR code there. That'll take you to the link tree, and there's a link there. It's a great competition. Lots of you have entered so far, and I'm looking forward to giving that away. But look at this, right? As I said, this is now an opportunity for United to go, you know what? We have had a seriously, seriously good run of form. It's not a run of form. We've just been very impressive. since the World Cup. Look at these numbers here, right? 25 games, 19 wins, 4 draws, and only 2 losses in 25 games with 54 goals scored and 10 clean sheets. And inside that, we've won the Carabao Cup. We've knocked Barcelona out of the playoffs. We're in the Europa League quarterfinal against Sevilla, who Bowers told me yesterday in the podcast, they're like a couple of points off the relegation zone. I did not know how bad Sevilla were doing this season. We're in the FA Cup semi-final against Brighton. That's going to be a heck of a game. Brighton are playing very, very well this season. Lots of exciting players. Caicedo, you've got McAllister, you've got Mitoma, you've got Evan Ferguson. They've done very, very well. Very good recruitment. And we're third in the league. It's fantastic, man. And it's all down to this man. However, and this is kind of what makes it slightly more impressive. Maybe I'm trying to look for the over positives here, right? We have not played particularly well in these last how many games do you reckon? Probably since we won the League Cup. I think there's been, the way I would describe it, I called it that at the time. I said that the League Cup final before it, I said the League Cup final was kind of the crescendo of our season because of the expectations that we were going to get inside the top 4. Well, not the expectation, that was the ambition, and we're nailing that. We are nailing that. But that winning that first trophy so early on was significant, and it felt like the crescendo in our season. And I think we've kind of seen that in the games we've had since. What is it? We've had West Ham since. We've had Southampton. We've had that game there yesterday against Fulham. The home and away against Real Betis. Second half against Betis at home was where we nailed it. It was we've not played particularly well, but we've got the results. We've beaten Real Betis home and away. We've dropped some points. Yes, we've had, well, we won't talk about that game. It's really, really impressive. Fred, you're asking down there saying, do you think the schedule was about to affect, sorry, that's just so many comments firing in there. It was really annoying. You're reading a comment and then 15 more comments come in and it pushes it up. I'm like, where is it? Anyway, I found it. Fred, do you think that the schedule was about to affect our form? I would say that it has affected our form. It hasn't necessarily killed our results and our momentum, and that's down to that's credit to Erik ten Hag and credit to these players. Now, that game yesterday against Fulham, let's be totally honest, 60, how much? I reckon about 65 minutes of that was extremely, extremely forgetful. Extremely forgetful. Wow. Got to take a second out here. Who's that? Partib. Wow, thank you so much, sir. I've not actually seen your name down there before, but you've just gifted 20 memberships. That's going to get a gongshi to kickstart the week. I need a bigger gong. I need to do some research into getting big gongs. I'll probably get noise complaints from neighbors. But big up to you, Partib. Thank you so much, man. What a community. Every single time I see it, I tell you what, you're making me feel generous this morning. Let me quickly go down there. Let's go down there. Let's go back here. It's a start to the week. It's a nice start to the week. You can do this whilst you're live and direct. Now, that's good. 1 second down there. I'll throw a little 10 in from me. I'm not getting a gongshi. That's my way of saying thank you to everyone as well. So there's 10 from me after 20 from Partib. That's the start to the week you all want to see here in the community. But let's speak about that game itself. And Roy Keane said this after, right? And, well, it's very Roy Keane, isn't it? It's fine to play in moments every now and then, but right now it feels like their DNA. They've slipped into some really bad habits. And I think Roy Keane is going way overboard here, which, as I said, it's Roy Keane. That's what Roy Keane does. He is a man of maybe not extremes, but he obviously speaks his mind 24/7, and his standards are sky high as a football player. But I know Ten Hag will not speak about this because he doesn't want to use it as an excuse, and it is not an excuse. However, presenting the facts that you have in front of you, where we are at this point in this Ten Hag tenure, right? We're not even into his first season. This squad is not capable, should not be capable of competing in 3 to 4 competitions. However, we've won the League Cup. We're in the Europa League quarterfinal. We're in the FA Cup semi-final. And we're 3rd in the Premier League. We are massively exceeding expectations up until this point. There wouldn't have been any, in my opinion anyway. Now, you might disagree with this. I don't think there would have been many reasonable United fans that would have predicted, come this international break, that we would have won the League Cup, that we would have been 3rd, and in the FA Cup semi and the Europa League. That's pipe dream stuff, given where we were last season to where we are now. Now, Roy Keane is not wrong in saying that you can't play in moments. We've slipped into really bad habits because we have been knackered. As I said, Ten Hag will not be using this as an excuse and coming out, because if you are really wanting to be a top team, you're going to have to cope with that. This squad is not capable of coping with that. We are very much a first team right now. When our starting 11 is out, Man United are ferociously good. And when you take certain players out, yeah, there's a big drop off, right? And that's why this summer is so important. I'm going to speak about transfers a little bit later in the show. And now that we've got 2 weeks off, I've got some really good content planned. Big up to both Joshes, to Stephen. And sorry, is there any more names in there? Let me quickly look at this, right? I don't want to forget any names. This is important. I'm done there. We've got 2 Joshes. We've got Stephen. We've got Tom as well. Big up to you. Are all helping me with research. So I'm going to bring some fantastic videos out over the next couple of weeks. We're going to be looking at the Qatari ownership of PSG. What did they do in the first 5 years? Are there any lessons we can learn? We're going to take a deeper dive into the 9-2 Foundation, the president. I think it's Shabazz. I think that's his name. Going to take a look at him. We're going to take some scouting reports. Maybe look at Victor Osimhen. Maybe look at alternatives to De Jong. Loads of good content. So seriously, it's a good time to subscribe to United People's TV if you are new and you haven't already. All right. Let me go down here and see what you're thinking about Roy Keane. What does Keane think Fergie time was all about? Bad habits that forced us to go. I don't think he's. Stuart, you're saying Roy Keane does your head in. It doesn't do my head in. It's just that Roy Keane knows what he's doing. Roy Keane is the king of extremes. He is. That's why he's such a good pundit to watch, and from an entertainment perspective. I don't think that takes into account what Man United have achieved since. I mean, look, if you're talking about high standards, Roy, 25 games, we've lost 2. And we've won a cup in that. There's your high standards. Can you expect it every single game? Bang, bang, dominant. That's what Ten Hag wants, right? That's what we can't get with this team. And certainly you can't get when Casemiro and Eriksen go out of it. It is painful. Painful how big the drop-off is when Casemiro goes out of this team. Really, really is. Eriksen hopefully back after it. Need to get Eriksen back. But you know what's mad, right? Look at this. This is the fixture list. This is the fixture list when we come back after the international break. I wish that Ten Hag could pretend that every single one of these players has got an injury. Oh, little niggling injury for Rashford. Not sure he should go. Nah, you should probably sit in the bath for 2 weeks. Yeah, lovely. Good. Because when we come back, look at that. 3 games in 5 days. 3 Premier League games in 5 days. As soon as we come back is a madness. I apologize if not all these dates are completely correct. I've just pulled it up on Twitter. But the point, let me just go over here then. Let me pull up the absolute correct dates on the United website. Maybe someone stiffed me on Twitter. Fixtures, Man United. Right. This is the official website. So these bad boys would definitely be right. Let's go. Let's bring this up here. So these are the fixtures when we return, right? We kick off with probably, thank you, Man United. It's a sale. I really want that. No, I don't. Stupid pop-up. Hate pop-ups. Anyway, Newcastle away, probably one of the, in fact, might be the most important game in April. That game there against Newcastle, if we lose, they're going to get G'd up by it, and this top 4 race may well be a top 4 race. But look, we play Newcastle away in the second. 3 days later, Brentford at home. 3 days later, Everton at home. Then we start the Europa League games. Playing Seville. Nottingham Forest. It is on a Sunday. half 4, and then we go back and we play Sevilla away, and then we play Brighton away in the FA Cup. We're at Wembley. That Chelsea game obviously has now been postponed. Then we've got Spurs away. Jeez. And my God, my word, there really is going to be no rest. Absolutely no respite whatsoever. That's why we need, hopefully, to rest and recuperate during this international break. But I wanted to start that show by saying this. And I think I might even do a full video on this, right? Because you need to cast your mind back to where we were at the end of the season. We were at our lowest ebb, man. When that campaign ended, I was there 1-0 away at Crystal Palace. Zaha scored it. That was when City just pipped Liverpool to the title. We were, as a club, you couldn't really see the way up. You knew that Ten Hag was coming in. You were like, oh man, I can't wait to start this process. But we were a totally disconnected club, team, squad, everything. The idea, a concept of winning any sort of cup was laughable. And here we are in March. What's that? 8 months later, we've won the cup. And since the World Cup was over, 25 games, 19 wins, 4 draws and 2 losses. It's incredible. It's incredible. Yeah, United have not been playing well in these last few games. And now we'll speak about the Fulham game. But I tell you what, the results have still been coming. And look, football is a results-driven business. And we got one yesterday. Now, the madness that I've seen, right? Some serious madness I've seen after that red card from Willian. Ten Hag spoke about it after the game because it's completely clear and obvious. Handball in the box, clear penalty. It's not for me to comment on them. The thing that something that's annoyed me quite a lot, actually, and I've seen quite a few people speaking about it too, and I think they're absolutely spot on. The referee yesterday had a clear line of view of that penalty, right? He saw that he struck his hand. But he probably, in his mind, he's thinking, well, I don't need to take that on-field decision. I can probably just wait for my boy with the camera to do it himself. So instead of taking the responsibility, he just waits for VAR. I imagine I imagine quite a few referees are doing that now. They're like, well, I don't need to take the stick of doing that on-field decision. I'll just wait for what happens in the VAR room. Now, obviously, it was given as a penalty. And the thing I want to say about this, right? Obviously, we'll speak about the madness of Mitrovic and the madness of those 3 red cards. And people are like, Man United got lucky. Like, the reason Willian handballed that on the line is because Man United had a brilliant counter-attack. I think it was Bruno that started it. Ball over the top to Anthony. I spoke to Bal about this on the podcast. I was like, please square it. Please square it, Anthony. Like, Sancho is in so much space. Please. And he did square it. Sancho rounded the keeper. Should he have shot earlier? Well, you can speak about that. He shot. Willian, he tried his hardest to pretend that it didn't hit his... He started like tapping his chest. Fucking lie. Anyway, penalty was given. It was a red card. We forced that issue. Fulham didn't just stroll back to their own line, handball it and go, no, never mind. No, United had a very good counter-attack. Anthony really improved that game when he came on. Spoke about that in my match reaction. That wasn't luck. We forced that issue. However, what happened after was totally out of our hands and totally because of Fulham. And Marco Silva can't say a damn thing. The manager got sent off, right? And he's gone out and he said, we should have a little bit of fairness. Honestly, like, he only pushed the ref. He pushed the ref. You don't push refs. Come on, man. You do that. Everybody knows that. And there's been a right man. What is that? Is this Darren Bent? Is that it? This one here. Darren Bent. What is this about? Bruno gets nothing for pushing the linesman. Mitrovic gets a straight red for bumping the ref. It's inconsistent. I don't know what that voice was. What the heck? What is Darren Bent talking about? First of all, that game at Anfield, the linesman put his hand on Bruno first, and he's like, get off me, man. Second of all, Mitrovic went straight into the face of the ref, pushed him, started shouting at him, started wagging his finger. Mate, it's a clear and obvious red, and he's probably going to get a pretty decent ban off the back of that. And then after that, well, after the Willian red card, Marco Silva tried to influence the referee going over to the VAR screen. Boom. Straight red. Can't do it. And you cannot push the ref. That was outside of our control. You want to call that luck? No, it's not luck. That is just a Fulham mental implosion. Did we take advantage of it? Yes, we did. As I said, 265 seconds between that red card and Man United being 2-1 up. How good was that penalty from Bruno? How good was that penalty from Bruno and the composure to do it? Bruno yesterday, again, man, it feels like I don't get. People look at that performance from Bruno yesterday and they are slagging him. Oh, his passes are so off. He's doing this, he's doing that. Bruno Fernandes yesterday was playing in a different role again and ended up playing as the number 6. He's not a number 6. Bruno will never be a number 6. Erik ten Hag, in this moment in time, square pegs, round holes. Eriksen, injured. Casemiro, suspended. What we can say now, in my opinion anyway, about Sabitzer, about McTominay, and about Fred, all three of them, they're not number 6s. All three of them are far better naturally as footballers in the opponent's half, going towards the edge of the opponent's box. McTominay, I'm including in that as well. He's tried his hardest to become a number 6. It's just not the natural inclination of his game. But because of that, Erik ten Hag decided, we need something different. I'm going to try Bruno a little bit deeper. And then people were getting pissed off at him. It's not his position. Bruno Fernandes, I think that's 60 goals he scored for United now. He scored more goals for United than Robin van Persie and Hernandez. That's mad. That's absolute madness. What a dude. And yesterday, the composure to get that penalty and he fired that third one in. I'm not looking at those goals and saying, the rest of the game he was playing, let's just ignore that. But people just, I think it goes back to how good he was in that first 6 months. And unless he's at that level now, he's underperforming. Whereas in reality, very difficult to keep that sort of form up. And something else I want to speak. Look at this, man. Oh, no, I can't be asked to speak about that. I can't be asked to speak about that. But Bruno, yeah, Bruno wasn't the best yesterday. But I think he gets way too much stick. Really, really do. I'm not giving him a free pass. But I think in these circumstances, with a game every 3 days, and he's played more minutes than any player, including goalkeepers, which blows my mind. How is that? He must commit himself to this career and this job, and not do anything bad outside it, because he wouldn't be able to sustain this every 3 days otherwise. And there are games that pass him by, and he isn't quite there. But still, yesterday, after all of that, he bangs in the penalty and bangs in the third. Dude. What an absolute dude. Wrong screen there. Let me go back over here. This man here. Actually, no, I'm gonna read a few of your comments out around Bruno first. Stephen, you're saying third one was an absolute rocket. Yeah, it was a rocket, man. Absolutely fantastic goal. What else are you saying down there? And you're talking about Paulinho. I've seen you commenting about 4 times about Paulinho, and you sent in the message for the podcast. I think you like Paulinho. But yeah, we'll speak about him a little bit later in the show. Sabitzer yesterday getting his first goal. Happy days. We all looked at Sabitzer. Oh, let's be completely honest. We didn't look at Sabitzer as a replacement for Casemiro at all. We looked at Sabitzer as a replacement for Eriksen, didn't we? But I don't particularly think he's a replacement for Eriksen either. I think Sabitzer is so much better in the opponent's half, right? I'm looking at him. I've been impressed. This isn't me slagging him, by the way. It's just about the profiles of players and where they fit inside the team. I don't think we're going to see Sabitzer as that holding number 6 at any point in these next 3 games. Newcastle away, Brentford at home, and Everton at home. They're the 3 games that Casemiro is going to be missing after this one against Fulham. He's not a number 6. I'm so happy you got that goal. We should definitely be signing him for what? We're looking at around about 20 million. I think we're looking around about 20 million. So, Teresa, Sam, move a bit to your right. I can only see half the mannequin. You can only see half the mannequin because I've got the screen up. The mannequin's there. Look at him. His head's nearly as big as mine. But look, we've got Rashford on there. Anyway, Sabitzer. I like Sabitzer. I don't know what United do in these next 3 games because McTominay, yeah, it doesn't work. It does not work. And I'll speak about that a little bit later in the show. Yeah, I'll speak about him there because this is a big issue, right? Give me 2 minutes of your time here. Actually, a little bit more than 2 minutes. Got plenty left in the show. Maguire and McTominay. Now, this isn't a witch hunt, all right? This is just understanding a problem that has repeated itself all season long. Whenever Manchester United play with McTominay or play without Casemiro and Eriksen in midfield, we struggle to play it out from the back through the middle. And that happened yesterday. And it has happened quite a few times. And that's why in these last 5-6 games, people are looking at us going, oh, man, yeah, there's something wrong with this United team because we're not controlling a game anymore. We didn't have any control over those first 65, 70 minutes. And you mentioned him there, Paulinho had the run of that midfield completely. And Harrison Reed as well. They were all over us. We didn't know what to do. We did not have that control. And that's because McTominay and Sabitzer, they didn't drop deep. What you normally see with, should we bring the tactical board up? May as well bring the tactical board up here because I can probably visualize it a little bit better than I can explain it. 1 second there. Tactical board. Let's bring this up. 1 sec. Let's make it a nice yellow circle. Ooh. When United, Erik Ten Hag, what he's aiming to do, right? Let's bring these 2 players on here. Let's get it exactly how it was yesterday. Maguire, Martinez, Shaw, Wan-Bissaka, McTominay, and Sabitzer. There you go. Got it nearly spot on. Every time that Maguire and McTominay and Martinez had the ball here, you saw so much space. You kind of saw McTominay hanging around there, Sabitzer hanging around there, and you had this big old space, right? You had that huge space between our defense and our midfield. However, and so in the build-up, what you saw was pass it left, pass it there. Okay, going to get blocked off, pass. And the only time where it really got broken was when Martinez fired a ball up here into the feet of Sancho or McTominay, and that really broke the line and it helped. When we play with Casemiro or Eriksen, what you normally see, obviously, you see the fullbacks going forward because Erik Ten Hag loves having that. You normally see the centre-backs split, and you normally see, well, if Casemiro or Eriksen was there, drops into that position there. And all of a sudden, you can play it through the middle because you've got a third man there. Everybody then can, the inverted fullbacks come in, and all of a sudden, look at these passing lanes you've got. That's what we didn't have yesterday. That's what we don't have every single time Casemiro and Eriksen don't play, right? It's really annoying. Really, really annoying. And it's a big problem for this team going forward. It's worth doing. I'm going to it. So probably, I'll see if I can do it this week, right? But that in itself deserves a video because it is a fundamental issue with the next phase of this United team, right? Ten Hag has got us to this point. We're running on fumes at the moment. This moment, I'm hoping we can regenerate some juice, but April and May, if we can get through this season without having that, I don't know, I wouldn't say we've had a collapse in the performance. We've had a massive dip in our performances, yeah, but the results have still been coming. I hope that we don't have a sort of dip in a performance and a dip in results and they match each other. We've managed to avoid that so far. I still fear it, but we have done so well to get to this stage. And I've ran through the results there already. But yeah, it's a fundamental issue of these, not just my, they're probably 2 most prime examples of it. McTominay and Maguire. Maguire yesterday, you saw it every time he had the ball in the second half. The Old Trafford crowd were sort of, they weren't jeering him, but they were just like, pass, move, play it forward, go, hurry up. Because every time Martinez has the ball, he just skips forward a couple of steps, brings it forward very, very quickly. Martinez is so progressive, so confident and quick in what he's doing that the standards have been raised a bit. Therefore, Maguire dawdling on the ball, it won't be accepted by the Old Trafford crowd anymore. That's something that Maguire I thought played quite well away at Betis, but he was dawdling yesterday. And McTominay, he's just not good enough. That's not a part of his game. He's not Frankie de Jong. He's not a Scottish de Jong. He's not even slightly close. Completely different profiles of players. And that's why profiles are important, man. They really, really are. Naturally, Fred wants to be in the opposition's half. Sabitzer wants to be in the opposition's half. And McTominay wants to be in the opposition's half. Nobody wants to be that player dropping to receive the ball from their centre-back. And neither does it. That's an issue, right? Has been an issue. That's why Casemiro is so important. And you're saying down there about giving Mainu his chance. If you're looking at profiles, Mainu is probably the closest profile to Casemiro. To Casemiro or Eriksen in terms of being that ball progressor. He's confident, happy enough to just receive the ball from his defenders and just pass it on. You haven't got to do anything crazy. Just make sure that your pass success rate is in the 90s and make sure you're bringing it forward. It's the only two things you got to do. It's a bit of a simple, I say simple. It's not simple. It's very difficult to do, especially when you're under pressure from an aggressive attacking team who are pressing and squeezing the space. But we need the summer. We need the summer. We need more. We need more. That's why midfielder signer is so important. So important. CJ Shooter, you plan on staying at home, Sam? Are you coming on tour to America this year? That'd be fun as hell, to be fair. Be expensive, but it would be fun. Parthiv, what are you saying, sir? Thank you very much for super chat earlier, man. You're saying separate topic. De Jong last night was asked whether he'd join United or not in the summer. He replied no. Smack my head that we should still go for him. Think it's time to move on. Well, we're going to be having a little conversation about De Jong a little bit later in the show, sir. But yeah, I think it's a bit of an issue. Can we take a little 30 seconds out here just to appreciate Louis van Gaal for making Yuri and Timber stay at Ajax? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Martinez, I've been torn. I've been torn between Martinez and Casemiro. But you've got to go back to your first love. Well, actually, no, you don't always have to. 9 times out of 10 is a bad thing. But anyway, I am with Martinez. Man, there's just the amount of sheer confidence he gives me as a fan when I'm watching him with the ball at his feet. The players must share that confidence too. So much better at bringing it out from the back. So much. It's kind of painfully so, actually, when you watch Maguire alongside him. We need two of him. Well, you got that in Varane when he's playing. Martinez. So there was one tackle he did on Mitrovic. You remember that one? Where he kind of ended up being in a one-on-one situation. Normally at that point, you expect your defender to sort of square up, kind of back slowly towards the goal, try and slow it down, allow more defenders to come back to help double up on him. He's like, sod that. Just went diving in. Went in straight at his feet, won the ball, and was like that, just jogging off. I was like, man, what dude? One absolute superb player. And in those games where you're up against it, and your defense is getting tested, Martinez really, he steps up. He finds another level in those games. Not every single game. Like, we've had bad results this season. But Martinez, And I think you can really tell yesterday that there was only one of Erik ten Hag's signings playing. Casemiro wasn't there. Eriksen wasn't there. Obviously, Malacia wasn't there. And Anthony was on the bench. And he made such a big difference when he came on. But this, right? This is so true. Eriksen is back in April, right? We know that. Erik ten Hag has said he is going to be back in April. We don't know. We don't know when in April, but I'm hoping that somehow Eriksen's going to be fit. Obviously, he will not be fit to start every single game, right? We're going to have to reintroduce him slowly. It's a standard practice, right? Coming back from a big injury. You would imagine in his first game back, Eriksen comes on for the last 20 minutes or so, ish. Maybe in the next game, he's going to be fit enough to start. Maybe for 60 minutes. Take him off. Maybe the same in the game after. And then maybe after that, we can get Eriksen back in for a full 90. We're going to have to manage his game time really, really well because with all these games coming up, we need him back. If I'm looking at where I would love to have him back, I'd love to have him back at Newcastle. We need some control there. It's going to be tough. Brentford at home, it's just hard. Just hard games. Everton, slightly less hard, but I remember when we've underestimated. Remember that was it the 3-3 under Fergie? Was it 4-4 at Old Trafford? I think it was a game where Hernandez scored really, really early, and that was when we were chasing the title. Oh man, I was a sucker punch that game. Daniel Berry, you're saying Mainu is a child. Throwing him in the games now will likely do more bad than good. He's not a child at all. He's very much physically, mentally capable of playing for Manchester United. Otherwise, he wouldn't be. However, I don't think we should be throwing him in to start 90 minutes every single game. That would be throwing him in the deep end. It's about game management. And Ten Hag, hey, look, he's got experience, years of experience of bringing through talented youngsters and them growing into world-class stars. I trust Ten Hag in the management of Mainu's game time. You might think, oh, he should be playing here, should be playing there. It's like yesterday, right? I predicted correctly that Pelistri would drop back to the bench, that Sancho would start in the number 10, and that Bruno would start in the right wing. I actually think it ended up being like Rashford. It was a weird front four. But anyway, Pelistri was put down to the bench. You might be like, oh, why are you doing that? He's played so well again. He did play well against Real Betis, but he completed his first start and first full 90 minutes. He was never going to start that game. He wasn't. And then Anthony came on and made a big, big difference. How good was Anthony when he came on? In terms of the balance of our team, he is a player who has had, he might be one of the most criticised players this season, actually. What do you think about it? Well, in terms of United ones, Bruno's probably the most, but Anthony is up there, right? Because of his output in games. He's not getting any assists. He's not influencing games enough. And I would argue that he's influenced more games positively than he has negatively this season. And he made a big difference yesterday. He held that width. I think he got a yellow for Robinson quite quickly. Obviously, on the counter-attack, squaring it for Sancho involved in that. Does that count as an assist? Nah, probably not. But Sancho yesterday, we'll speak about him in a little bit. I'll focus on Anthony for now. But I think United are a better team, better shape, better balance with Anthony in than without Anthony. I really, really liked it when he came on yesterday because of how much he impacted how United play going forward. Raid, I think that's a good point there in terms of the link up between Anthony and Wan-Bissaka. It's probably the partnership down on that right-hand side which is working the best, right? I think so anyway. I'm going to go down here and read a few more of your comments, what you're saying down here. I didn't hear you give Igalo as much time as you were giving this Weghorst guy. Cut the crap about work rate and desire. He is just white. Yeah, he is white. I love how people try and do this. It's genuinely incredible how people do this. I think it's it's a massive. It's a pattern. It's what people do online these days. They take something here, and they connect it to something. Where is it? It's over there. There is not even a slight link. There is not even a slight link. But people love to just try and be incendiary, don't they? They just try and start fires where there's no fire to be started. Crazy. But people do it. Elias, I'm calling you out on that. But there are so many more people that need to be called out on that dumb shit. Stop it, people. You're idiots. You are idiots. Elias, you are an idiot for making that link. Don't get offended by it. You make dumb comments. I'm going to call you out on the dumb comments because people have to be called out online for dumb stuff just like people call me out for dumb stuff. Anyway, Weghorst, he won't be starting that many games for United next year. And he shouldn't be. However, I do think he should be a good squad player. And I do think he should get a one-year deal. That's my opinion on Weghorst. But it's only because he's white, isn't it? People. I don't know what you're trying. Anyway, Jadon Sancho. I saw this comment on Twitter yesterday, and it made me laugh. So I pulled it up here. Sancho playing 4D chess here. Could have had that goal. He's like, nah. I'm going to get 3 red cards, and a penalty instead. Jadon Sancho's performance yesterday is well, I think I've just been a bit indifferent with Sancho since his return, haven't I? So sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit. I think that's pretty much how to describe Jadon Sancho's return. I don't know whether it's because of the position switching. I don't know whether it's because he's trying to get used to a new role. It's kind of on and off with Jadon Sancho so far. I personally, and I'll tell you what's a bit of an issue for Jadon Sancho is this, right? A real problem for Jadon Sancho is this. I think Jadon Sancho looks better off the left. And we all know that that position is just not his. That's Marcus Rashford's. So Sancho is having to go, okay, right, I can't play off the left then. Let's play somewhere else. And he's trying to learn inside that number 10 role, but it's a new position. I'm not here to, I'm not here slagging Sancho off. That's not what I'm doing. I think he knows that he can do more. I think he knows he has to. Like Jadon Sancho has been given that 3-month period by Ten Hag, which is kind of unprecedented. I think so. He's been given so much time by his manager. But at United, you won't get a free pass for forever, right? Sancho's got to keep those levels and try and keep progressing those levels between now and the end of the season. And then he's going to have a full season next year. But we're going to have to see, I suppose, when you're seeing Marcus Rashford doing what he is doing, we want the Sancho equivalent of that level of performance, don't we? From a winger. Somebody who's influencing the game so much, just like Marcus Rashford is. Let me see what you're saying down here about Sancho in the comments. Rachel, you're saying, how does Ten Hag solve this issue? Lots of good wingers, but lots of other positions without depth. Rachel, it's all about squad balance, isn't it? Because that's what I'm saying. If you're looking at our midfield, Sabitzer, Fred and McTominay all want to play in the same position. They could all do it to different levels of goodness, but they all want to do the same thing. None of them want to be that central midfielder who receives the ball first from the centre-backs. Casemiro, he does that. It's his whole career he's done that. Eriksen, if you asked Eriksen and he was being completely honest, he'd probably say, I love playing in the number 10. I think that's probably my best position. It's where he's played most of his career, but he's kind of ended up being that deeper ball progressor at United, and he's just very, very good at it. That's why profiles of midfielders are so important. That's why, and you've spoken about Paulinho quite a lot, and you can understand it completely. He is a Casemiro type dude who will receive the ball from his two centre-backs, who will stay deep, and also has got a seriously good tackle. Seriously good tackler. Madhouse, you're saying one more season for Sancho. Matt Richard, you're saying we sell Sancho in the summer. I don't think we'd be. We're not selling Sancho, man. It's just not happening. He's literally not been here for 3 months this season. Ten Hag will be confident in his own coaching ability to have the same turnaround with Sancho that happened with Rashford this season. That's what we're all hoping for next year, right? Is for Sancho to come back and be like, to it, because you know, whether it's at United or not, there will be some point in the next year or 2 or 3 where Sancho just explodes again. And everyone's like, wow, look how good he is. I want that to be at United. Ten Hag wants it to be at United. And we've got to use that Rashford situation as an example. Follow that. If you can follow that, then we have got a player on our hands. Players that we might not have on our hands. Paul, you're saying, I know I keep mentioning it, but I think De Gea should get some praise. I praised De Gea in my post-match reaction yesterday. Great save from him. Unfortunately for me, that shows that Man United are not playing good enough, because we shouldn't be looking at the blinding saves our goalkeeper makes. We shouldn't be conceding chances like that. But that's where De Gea is so good. De Gea is... Maybe this is the wrong way to describe De Gea. But I would look at De Gea as a reactive goalkeeper, not a proactive goalkeeper. De Gea is going to be your safety net. And he's a hell of a safety net. In that situation where you're going to get your goal peppered with shots, there aren't many better to have in goal than David De Gea. He's great with his reactions. He's great at stopping you dropping. However, I don't think he's that goalkeeper that is the proactive goalkeeper that really will take you forward, that will start those counterattacks with brilliant distribution, that will be that goalkeeper to help you control the game, which is what Ten Hag wants. That's always been my issue with David De Gea. Again, down to profiles, specific profiles. Does he tick all the boxes naturally? Or are we trying to do a bit of a square peg round hole thing? But yeah, De Gea definitely deserves praise yesterday for the saves he makes. When I start I still have my feeling on him. I still have my feeling on De Gea and how I don't think he'll suit going forward. It's going to be very interesting to find out what happens about that contract coming up. I think we're going to have to get clarity on that at some point soon, really. Speaking of the summer, speaking of transfers, let's finish with the last 10 minutes, right? Speaking about what could happen in the summer. Now, this man clearly is going to be one of the biggest talking points. Frankie de Jong was asked about Manchester United, and he was asked, look, you won't join Man United in the summer, will you? He goes, look, no, I don't think so. You never know, but I'm very happy with Barcelona. Barcelona last night beating Real Madrid 2-1 in the Clásico, 90th minute winner from Frank Kessie. De Jong's looking like he's going to win the La Liga title. Congratulations there. United cannot afford De Jong part 2. All right? Nay happening. There's no doubt that Ten Hag, if you asked him and he was being completely honest and truthful, which signing would you like? Who would be your dream signing this summer, Ten Hag? He'd just say De Jong without even thinking. Absolutely, he'll say De Jong. But it's not going to happen, in my opinion. And I don't think United should be wasting any time, because as good as De Jong is, and he is the king of that. If you looked at that specific profile of midfielders, he's number 1 on that list, right? You've got to go after the best. However, I think United are going to have to look elsewhere. Now, interestingly enough, David Ornstein said this about Jude Bellingham this morning. He goes, as things stand, Liverpool increasingly unlikely to sign Jude Bellingham because of the expected price and financial power of rivals. Get back in your place, Liverpool. Good. But early this week, I didn't do a video on this. Could have done a video this week. Sorry, video this week. An article this week from Jason Burt from The Telegraph saying that, look, Manchester United are ready to enter that battle for Jude Bellingham. Now, of course, there's going to be quite a few things that come into this Bellingham conversation. Number 1, I personally think he's got, well, it's Real Madrid or City. If you look at that Real Madrid team, man, it's Dutty, Camavinga, Tchouaméni, and Bellingham. It's unfair how good that is and how long that is. You're looking like 10 years between those 3. Unbelievable. I would expect it to be City or Real Madrid. We don't know how much spending power we're going to have this summer. And I will be doing a video on this a little bit later, because it's kind of hard to predict, right? Because we know that we made 200 mil worth of losses, but we also know we get new owners in. We also know there's new FFP rules. And the one thing that we don't have any clarity on is how much we're actually going to make in sales. That's going to be the changing point for United this summer. It's not really to do with how much we can spend from FFP, XYZ. It's how much we make in sales. We should be making, in my opinion, we should be making 40 million from Harry Maguire, 20 million from Martial, 30 million from Martial. Alex Telles should be leaving. Phil Jones should be leaving. Dean Henderson should be leaving. And I think you could put McTominay into that, as long as you're going to reinvest back into that squad. So you should be getting, in my opinion, we should be getting in excess of £100 million in player sales this summer. And that is what transforms our ability to spend. Now, Jude Bellingham, amen. Wow, what a player he would be. But again, if I'm being totally honest, Jude Bellingham, what profile of the midfielders does he fit? He would go in the same category as Fred, McTominay, and Sabitzer. Obviously, far better than all 3 of them, but somebody who is far better on the edge of the opponent's box than he is on the edge of his own box. Now, Bellingham is so good, he kind of can play there. But he's not really that he's not really like De Jong. He's not going to be that central midfielder who naturally drops in between the centre-backs and just brings it and passes it out. He'd rather be the player that midfielder passed to, and then bring it over the midfield line and burst towards the edge of the opponent's box. So again, profiles are important. And I don't particularly think that Bellingham fits that box. I think so anyway. Somebody who quite a few of you are talking about and have been asking me to do a video on, and I'm definitely going to be doing some more research into Evan Ferguson, because I've been watching him sort of quietly from the sidelines at Brighton. Signed from Bohemians in the Irish Premier League last year. You see that goal he scored yesterday against Grimsby? Man, took the ball down, turned, swept it in. Lovely finish from Ferguson, 18 years old. Absolute monster of a dude, by the way. Very, very good prospect. But we can start looking at these now. And that we've got time. We've got time to start looking at all of these targets. Jibbat, you're saying, look, I don't want to hear about Frankie de Jong anymore. He's made it very clear he doesn't want to play for United. I wouldn't want players like that, even if it was Maradona. Well, you might try if it was Maradona. But De Jong's not sort of sitting on the fence. You could say, him saying you never know, of course, blah, blah, because you don't know. Like Barcelona might just end up selling him because they're in financial ruin, and they are. And they have been, and they always will be. But I don't think we should be going after De Jong. I'm going to go down here and see what you're saying. Nunez says takeoff. He fits the box. There are quite a few. I'm going to run through. Daniel, you're asking about Declan Rice. Declan Rice fits the box far more than Bellingham does. It might be boring to say that, but it is true. In terms of ball progression from deep between defence and midfield, Declan Rice would be a better profile fit there than Jude Bellingham for Manchester United. It might not be as sexy, but it is the truth. And sometimes it's those unsexy signings in football that make the big difference. Why I wanted a defensive midfielder for so many years. I wasn't just saying that for absolutely no reason. I was saying that because it was true. And we've seen that. We've seen the impact that Casemiro's had now. It's almost like I knew what I was talking about. But I didn't actually quite know how good Casemiro's going to be. What do you reckon about this, by the way? Big up to, I can't remember his name. One second. Let me quickly find his name on the old Twitterati. Apologise about forgetting your name. Let's see if I can find it quick. Where is it? I get too many messages. There it is. What was his name? Sorry, I don't want to. Ben. Big up to you, Ben. Ben is an artist who helped me design that, but unfortunately, you kind of can't see it properly because of the mirror of it, because it's a little bit far away. But it's Fergie, it's Ten Hag. It says eras come to an end and new eras begin. So it's a nice little poster, but you can't see it because it's that far away. But Marcus Rashford likes it. Look how happy he is. Last couple of minutes of the show, right? I'll answer as many questions as you want. Anything you want to ask me, I'll answer. There isn't an update on the sale of Manchester United this morning. I spoke to Ben Jacobs on Friday. We got a full coverage of what happened this week with all the talks, with the Qatari talks, Ineos talks, all covered. This week and next week, we should be getting those second bids in. That's when it's going to get really exciting. Because if we get to that point and the Glazers go to a period of exclusivity with a Qatari or an Ineos bid, then we know full well who Manchester United's owners are likely to be. We know full well at that point the Glazers are going for the full sale rather than anything minority. It's going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to it. Chaos, you're saying, Sam, look into... I can't pronounce his name, so I'm bringing it up on screen. But you know, man, that guy who's tearing it up, the Georgian master. Man, master's a bit strong, but he is so exciting. And that Napoli team, I know Victor Osimhen is good, but Kvaratskhelia, going to call him Kvicha. Going to call him KK. Call him that instead. He is so exciting to watch. He really, really is. Rice is overpriced, says Alan. I think Rice is overpriced as well, but you know, cost of goods are going up, man. It's sorry, that's a terrible, actually abysmal joke. I should actually take myself offline for that. Ewald saying, how old are you, Sam? I'm now 34. It's a good age. It's great age. Great age. Great age. Carl, you're saying, what is today's lunchtime video? Haven't quite decided yet. I might do a sort of a full run through of everything that's happened in these last couple of months to where we are and against expectations. Because I think people need to understand the context of that. They just forget it. They're like, they look at a game on a basis of 0 to 90 minutes and that's it. Whereas you've got to take everything into account. And if you do that, then you realize how impressive Manchester United have been. Paul here saying photo opportunity for Sir Jim. I think that's it's an interesting one, that, isn't it? How public that was. But it's also part of the Jim Ratcliffe approach. If you're looking for small margins and gains, one thing that Sir Jim Ratcliffe right now and Ineos have over the SJR bid is the fact that Jim Ratcliffe is there physically. Let's get the cameramen down there. Let's show that I'm there. I want to be the new owner. I'm right here in Manchester. I'm the local guy, and that is a strength of his bid that he wants to sort of not exaggerate, but use. That's what it is, man. It's a PR battle. That's what's going on. Public relations. It's important to try and maintain the swing of public opinion. That's exactly what he did there. What else is saying down here? Saranga, you're also mentioning Paulinho. Man, there's going to be quite a few people calling for him, and I think rightly so. I reckon he goes for 40 million in the summer. But look, I'm going to wrap this show up. That's a wonderful show this morning. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I enjoyed it. Big up to... Sorry, I can't remember your name, buddy. Where is it? I can't. It was right at the start of the show. Big up to everyone who gifted memberships. I've just bigged myself up there, actually. But look, thank you all. What a wonderful community. Man, look at that, actually. Andy, I didn't even see that. I apologize, Andy. You gifted 10 memberships. Yes, the Gongshi. Gongshi's going to get a little one. Big up to you, my man. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today. I will be back on tomorrow. I forgot about that a little bit. Right. Don't think that the content's going to go away. I'm here Monday to Friday during this whole time. This week, there's going to be so much insightful content here on United People's TV. The stuff I love doing. Got some interviews lined up. Got some research videos lined up. We can actually take a step back and go, right, what are the important things that we haven't had time to speak about because we've been playing every 3 days? That's what I'm going to cover in these next 2 weeks. So big up to all of you. Have a great day, and I'll see you later.